You know, I've been asked 1,000 times, what's the secret to wealth? And every time, people expect me to say something complicated. A stock tip, a hidden strategy, some trick only the rich know. But the truth is simpler than that, and maybe that's why so few people believe it. I've learned that wealth isn't really about money. It's about time. It's about what you do when no one's watching. It's about the small decisions you make every single day that no one applauds, until decades later, when those decisions have quietly built something nobody can take away from you. So let me tell you what I do, every single day. And why I believe you can't stay poor if you make this one thing a habit. I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. My father was a stockbroker and a congressman. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. And early on, I noticed something. The people around me who had money weren't necessarily the smartest. They weren't always the hardest workers, but they had something else. They had discipline, they had patience, and they had a hunger to understand how things worked. When I was 7 years old, I checked out a book from the library called 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000. I was fascinated, not because I wanted to get rich quick but because I realized that money was a tool. And if I could understand how it worked, I could use it to build a life where I didn't have to worry. By the time I was 11, I bought my first stock, 3 shares of Cities Service Preferred. I watched it drop. I panicked. Then I sold it for a small profit. And then I watched it climb much higher after I sold. That was my first lesson. Impatience costs you. Fear costs you. Not knowing what you own costs you. So I decided, right then, that I would spend the rest of my life learning, not just about stocks, about businesses, about human behavior, about value, about time. And I never stopped. Here's what I do every single day, without fail. I read. That's it. No secret formula. No complicated system. I spend about 5 to 6 hours a day reading. Reports, financial statements, newspapers, books, annual letters. Anything that helps me understand how the world works. I don't do it to impress anyone. I do it because knowledge compounds, just like money. When you learn something today, it builds on what you learned yesterday. And next year, you'll see patterns other people miss. You'll make decisions other people can't. You'll have confidence when everyone else is afraid. People think wealth is built in the market. It's not. It's built in the mind. The market is just where you apply what you've learned. But if you haven't learned anything, the market will teach you very expensive lessons. Reading is the ultimate unfair advantage, because most people won't do it. They'll scroll, they'll watch, they'll listen to opinions. But they won't sit down, alone, in silence, and actually think. I've never met a successful person who didn't read, and I've never met a consistently poor person who read deeply, consistently, and with purpose. Your mind is the only asset that grows with use. Everything else depreciates. Your car, your clothes, even your body, but your mind, feed it every day, and it becomes unstoppable. Now, let me be honest with you. Most people stay poor not because they don't have opportunities. They stay poor because they're in a hurry. They want results now. They want to feel rich now. They want to look successful now. So they buy things they don't need, with money they don't have, to impress people they don't even like. I've watched people make a little money and immediately spend it trying to look like they have a lot of money. That's not wealth. That's insecurity dressed up in a nice car. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the money you didn't spend. The investment you made instead of the vacation you didn't need. The decision to wait, to learn, to be patient, while everyone around you is chasing the next shiny thing. People also stay poor because they listen to noise. The news, the opinions, the hot stock tips from a friend of a friend. They let other people's fear and greed control their decisions. But here's the thing, the market doesn't care about your emotions. The world doesn't reward panic, it rewards patience. It rewards those who can sit still when everyone else is running. If you can't control your emotions, you can't build wealth. It's that simple. So what does my day actually look like? I wake up. I don't check my phone. I don't rush. I eat breakfast. I read the newspaper. Then I go to my office, and I read some more. I read about companies. I read about industries. I try to understand what's changing and what's staying the same. I ask myself, what is this business really worth? And what is the market saying it's worth? When those two things don't match, that's where opportunity lives. But I'm not looking for the next big thing. I'm looking for the obvious thing that everyone else is ignoring because it's boring. I'm looking for businesses I can understand. Businesses that will still be here in 20 years. I don't try to predict the future, I just try to avoid being surprised by it. And when I'm not reading, I'm thinking. I take long walks, I sit quietly, I let ideas settle. I don't fill every moment with noise. Because clarity doesn't come from more information, it comes from better thinking. And better thinking comes from silence, from patience, from giving your mind space to connect what you've learned. That's my secret. I'm not smarter than you. I just spend more time thinking and less time reacting. Now, you might be thinking, that's great for you, Warren, but I'm not managing billions. I'm just trying to get by. I understand, I've been there. But here's what I want you to know, the principles don't change. You don't need money to start. You need discipline. Start small. Read for 30 minutes a day. Learn about one company, one industry, one idea. Then another, then another. Invest in yourself before you invest in anything else. Take a course, learn a skill, build something. Your income today is a reflection of your knowledge yesterday. If you want to earn more, you have to know more. And when you do start investing, start with what you can afford to lose. Don't gamble, don't chase, don't try to get rich in a year. Try to get a little bit wiser every single day. Because if you can do that, if you can stay curious, stay patient, and stay disciplined, you won't stay poor. I promise you that. The biggest mistake I see people make is borrowing money to buy things that go down in value. A car, a vacation, a lifestyle they can't afford yet. Debt is a thief. It steals your future income, it traps you, it makes you work for the bank instead of yourself. If you can avoid debt, avoid it. If you can't, pay it off as fast as you can. And never, ever borrow money to invest in something you don't fully understand. The second mistake is impatience. People want to double their money in a month. That's not investing, that's gambling. And the house always wins, slow and steady. That's how fortunes are built. I've been investing for over 70 years. And I can tell you this with absolute certainty, time is your greatest ally. Compounding isn't magic, it's math, but it only works if you give it time. A small amount of money, invested wisely and left alone for decades, will grow into something you can't imagine today. But you have to let it. You have to resist the urge to touch it, to spend it, to doubt it. Wealth is built in silence. It's built in waiting rooms. It's built in the years nobody sees. So here's what I believe. You can't stay poor if you do one thing every single day. Invest in your mind. Read, learn, think, be patient, be disciplined, be consistent. The world will distract you, it will tempt you. It will try to make you hurry. But if you can stay calm, stay curious, and stay committed to becoming a little bit better every single day, you won't stay poor. You'll build something that lasts. Thanks for watching.